with this president, I don't know what to believe. I know originally he'd been in favor of tough sanctions on ZTE, a company that has repeatedly violated sanctions in terms of sales to North Korea, Iran, other nations. Then he talked about trying to save Chinese jobs. Now he's trying to lay out something in between. And candidly, that's not where we are in Congress. Today in the Banking Committee, we came up with a unanimous amendment that basically said in the CFIUS process going forward, a president couldn't arbitrarily pick out a company that had been subject of national security concerns and use it as a trading chit, as he appears to do, since so far all the press reports are he's been totally out-negotiated by the Chinese in terms of our overall trade issues. So I get very worried when he's backing off on this kind of firm. And I also think it's important that the intelligence community, and I'm the vice chair of the Intel Committee, but the intelligence community, the FBI, the CIA, and others, do a better job of informing American businesses at the C-level, how problematic, particularly these Chinese telecom firms are, and how disadvantaged American firms are vis-a-vis the Chinese market.
Is that your response to when the president says they buy a lot of products from American companies, and so that decision was going to also hurt American companies? That's your response to say to them?
My response is that candidly, China does not allow American tech firms in many of the areas, particularly social media. I have not seen evidence of ZTE buying lots and lots of American equipment. I do know this, that ZTE has violated not once but twice American sanctions rules, and that it is the unanimous agreement of the intelligence community that they don't think we should be buying ZTE and, for that matter, Huawei equipment. And the president, who seems to be not informed of what his own intelligence community's conclusions are, and then one day says he's going to be tough, next day he's talking about saving Chinese jobs, and now he's got this kind of in-the-middle position. I don't think that's the way we ought to be operating.
Well, he changed the script on that. Now says it's about American companies. But Senator Warner...
Last week the script was about Chinese jobs, saving Chinese jobs. The fact is, this is a company that poses a national security threat. And if that threat is real, and if we're going to listen to the intelligence community, this is a company that has violated American sanctions rules. For him to arbitrarily, depending on which day he gets up and which day he wants to tweet, decides whether this ought to have the kind of sanctions that the law implied, or is he going to arbitrarily choose another route? I find that very dangerous, and not the way we want to send a message against a country like China. And as somebody who's had a telecom and tech background, I know they operate on a different set of rules.
No, and I know you do. And the national security, which is a very serious issue aside, why do you say that we are losing in terms of the trade negotiations? I mean, the president has managed to secure, at least we've heard, a commitment from China to buy more agriculture exports from the U.S. to lower tariffs for cars. I mean, I don't know that we want to see a reduction to the deficit commitment.
I don't. Let me say this. The Chinese, whether it was not just with Trump, but with Obama, with Bush, they sometimes make these promises. It's rare that you ever get a number commitment. And this president went in guns a-blazing, said he was going to bring down the trade balance, $200 billion, I believe, over a year or two. What you got was a bunch of diplomatic speak at the end with no specific goals. I mean, this is a country, in terms of China, that does not allow our most significant American tech companies to even penetrate their market. This is a country that requires those tech companies that do enter into China to basically give up their crown jewels, oftentimes their source codes, to be able to access the market. And I think, frankly, that's irresponsible of a lot of the American companies. But we also have now China dramatic investing in venture, a lot of intellectual property theft. I mean, these concerns around companies like ZTE and Huawei, this is a real challenge, and the kind of rope-a-dope that I think he's received from the Chinese diplomats so far is every analysis I've seen said China totally outfoxed him in this last round of negotiations.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.